Well, to our reporter Linda Mnisi in court for us again through the day. Linda, good afternoon to you. Some very interesting sort of testaments and some interesting statements and an important decision by the judge as well today.
Indeed, Stephen, you'll remember that this is a statement that was deposed by the late Brigadier Ndlovu, one of the first police officials to arrive at the crime scene at the time of Meyiwa's shooting. And you'll remember that during his evidence in chief, Sergeant Thabo Mosia did in fact mention that he was welcomed by this police officer. In fact, he got a call from him who then told him to go to the police station and ultimately to the hospital. But in this particular statement that's now being read out in court after being allowed by the judge, he seems to be distancing himself from anything that was pointed out by Sergeant Thabo Mosia. In fact, you also remember one of the crucial points that came out from his testimony was that Brigadier Ndlovu was the one that was showing him around the crime scene, which evidence to collect and point out. And in his statement, Brigadier Ndlovu seems to be saying that he did not do that. In fact, Sergeant Thabo Mosia saying that he was quite, intricate and, involved in that particular process where he was relaying what had happened and showing him where to take those particular pictures. So at this point, it seems that the defense is dealing really with the issues of contradiction around the statements and the evidence that has already been provided to the court by Sergeant Thabo Mosia in relation to the statement, of course, that is now set to be made by Brigadier Ndlovu. And the defense is saying that it seems that Brigadier Ndlovu is distancing himself really from any involvement with him. He was asked, in his report where Brigadier Ndlovu takes accountability or even states that he's the one that welcomed him, that took him around the scene. And he says there is his signature, but Advocate Mshololo drilling through the statement saying that in your crime scene report, where exactly does Brigadier Ndlovu write in his own handwriting that he is the one, that showed you around? And he says, well, it's not in this particular docket. This document rather makes provisions for someone to include their details and only sign, but also he was then asked that, it seems as though his version is really uncorroborated, but we saw the judge interjecting there saying that that particular statement forms the basis of the state's objection, and Advocate Mshololo then rephrasing to put it in a different manner. Stephen?
And Linda, of course, what this means is that we're going to have a few more technical arguments around all of this. In other words, this trial is going to go on for a long time yet.
Well, at this point, Stephen, it seems as though it's moving forward, given, of course, the fact that we're currently back on track in terms of the cross-examination of the state witness. You'll remember for the longest of time, Sergeant Thabo Mosia was a witness who has been on the stand facing cross-examination, and now he's being cross-examined on the statement that comes from the state. It comes from the second docket that is now made by, the late Brigadier Ndlovu. So that cross-examination then is expected to continue tomorrow morning. So it seems as though now things are back on track following, of course, how that issue around the application for a special entry was dealt with, the court noting the concerns by Advocate Mshololo that she was given that particular docket later than Advocate Ndlovu, who had already indicated before this court that he was given this docket. So it seems at this point the case is now moving.
Linda Mnisi, glad to hear. Thank you very much indeed. Do appreciate it. Our reporter in court for you through the day. Again, of course, more developments on that tomorrow. He'll be there again for you. Well.